Alright, so this Charlie Kirk situation is way out of hand. Anyone with a brain and one eyeball or more can see the CGI used in the video. Now, I cannot show the video on this platform because they will censor it, and it might get censored anyway because you're not supposed to question the narrative. Now, who else is not supposed to question the narrative? Slaves? Prisoners? School children? Technically, you could say they are supposed to question the narrative. Critical thinking is illegal. It will be censored because of freedom. So the guy had a freedom shirt on, and the words were straight across, but then suddenly they curved up. His entire shirt suddenly went up there, which is basically physically impossible. There's about 3 frames in that video. If you go frame by frame, you see that they defy the laws of physics. There's a little CGI black spot here they put on there. See, they covered up the neck because there is no moment of impact. They couldn't figure out how to fake that. Like in a movie, they have these explosive devices called squibs that explode and blood spurts out, but they didn't do that here. There was just suddenly a black spot there that came out of nowhere. But about 3 frames before that, if you look frame by frame, his shirt jumps up here, his face goes down, and his face is all blurred out. It's just a bunch of CGI. And then they really splashed on the trauma-based mind control, the emotional propaganda. Anyone over the age of 40 never really heard of this guy. But then suddenly everyone's supposed to feel sorry and feel sad and traumatized for the patriotic hero. And if you don't feel sad, you're a domestic terrorist. If you just question the narrative. It was kind of like that for 9/11, because it brings out the patriotism in Americans. But a real patriot is supposed to question the narrative. That's what America's really about, is not being deceived by our own government. You really think Trump got shot in the ear? Come on, that's the oldest trick in the book. That's just wrestling tricks. The special effects they're doing is nothing new, and it's not really very good quality stuff. All they're doing is masking our critical thinking skills with emotional propaganda so that nobody even looks into it, because they'll be called names. I used to wonder, like, how do these people sleep at night? Because they're always lying to us and deceiving us. They do a pretty good job of that. Sometimes they seem authentic, and they say things that I even agree with sometimes, but ultimately they're playing a role. But I think what's going on is that they actually don't have a conscience. What do I mean by that? Are they psychopaths? Well, I think they might be. They might be sociopaths and or psychopaths. And as you may know, sociopaths are actually very good at manipulating people's emotions. And now, where do they get all these sociopaths and psychopaths? Well, I think they create them. And they do it possibly when they're young. And what they do is they do all these really horrible things. That's why you hear about the people in the ruling class being involved in child sacrifice and cannibalism. It's actually very well documented, but heavily censored. Pedophilia, all kinds of evil stuff, and also ritual transvestism. If someone is secretly living as the opposite sex, that actually does something to your psyche. And what it does is kills your conscience. So just imagine if you didn't have a conscience, if you didn't really care about other people, just imagine how much more wealthy you'd be. You might even be rich and famous, and you might even be part of the ruling class. It's a kind of institutionalized ritual that kills their conscience, and this allows them to be in the ruling class and to do what they need to do to herd the sheep. They have to kill their conscience so they don't care about us. Of course, they have to pretend to care about us. That's pretty much the definition of a sociopath, and possibly a psychopath as well. I used to work with a sociopath. They're very good actors. And so I think what happens is that they don't have a conscience. That's why they're able to play these roles. That's why they're able to pretend to be Christians, for example, or pretend to be conservative, pretend to be this or that or whatever. But really their main goal is power. And the mass media narratives are the weapon of enslavement. And unfortunately, most people believe the narratives. That's really the problem. I mean, if nobody believed the narratives, then they wouldn't have any power over us. But unfortunately, most people believe the narratives, because what happens, I think, is that the emotions people feel are real. Even if the story itself is a lie, the emotions people feel are real. And if it's on the news, they think it's a real story. It's just like if you go to a movie, you feel emotion while watching a movie, but you don't think the movie's actually real, but yet you still feel the emotion. But I just think of everything in the TV news as being a TV show. And like a weekly drama, like something new happens every week. There's always some kind of plot twist. But none of it's real. They're all actors. It's almost like the entire earth is a giant movie studio, and we're all just the extras. And we're all just supposed to react to their narratives. Now, in a book called Homo Deus by Yuval Noah Harari, he actually admits that society is based on lies. That a nation state is essentially a fictional organization, and they need to lie. They need to spread fictional narratives in order to unite the country. Because really, we're all just a bunch of strangers from different families. We're not really related to each other. What do we have in common other than that we speak the same language or whatever? We're born in the same nation. But a nation needs to be held together by fictional stories, by lies. And these people believe, maybe they believe they're doing the right thing, but ultimately they're lying to us all the time. And I think the only way they could possibly do that and be able to sleep at night would be if they don't really have a conscience. So we're dealing with people with no conscience who are just able to keep lying to us all the time. Most of us cannot do that. Most of us have a conscience. Most of us don't want to lie to people. We want to be honest. We want to help others even. Imagine that. What gullible morons we are. We actually want to help other people. Well, I think that's kind of what we're supposed to be doing here. But imagine if you didn't think that way. Imagine if all you wanted to do was lie to people and enslave them to benefit you and the secret society you're in. And that's why they're so unified. So these childhood traumatic experiences they undergo, which include, all kinds of horrible things, including the ritual gender bending, which is a kind of ritual, I believe. It kills their conscience. It could even lead to demonic possession. And you'll notice that they work together pretty well. The secret societies generally seem to be on the same page. And you don't see a lot of power struggles within, at least as far as we're aware of. Whereas normal people, we don't really get along with each other so well. If you work in a company, you'll notice that everyone's trying to stab each other in the back half the time, instead of working together to compete against your actual competitors and to provide a quality product and service to your customers. Most people working are stabbing each other in the back. Whereas I don't think the secret societies have that problem, because they're unified because of their secrets. See, their secrets bond them together. They all share the same secret. Oh, I just missed my turn, man. That's a problem making a video when you drive, like I keep missing my turns. So these rituals that they do, most of us wouldn't be able to do them because they're just so evil, because we have a conscience, and it's a good thing to have a conscience. But I don't believe the ruling class, and these are the people in the mass media and the people behind the scenes even, they must not have a conscience, because they've killed it by doing these rituals and continuing to do them, and they feel this kind of power, and eventually they start to like it, and they seem to enjoy deceiving us. And they certainly benefit in this world, right? They're winning in this world. Now the Bible does say the first will be last and the last will be first in the kingdom of heaven. If we don't see justice now in this lifetime, which is looking pretty unlikely, unfortunately, they will get what they deserve eventually. So the Bible talks about false brothers, which are basically false Christians, false prophets, false teachers, false messiahs, false Christs, and what else? False doctrine, false gods, false signs and wonders, which I believe we just had one of those. And I think we can add a new term, which is almost kind of in the Bible. In the Bible, it's called a false witness. But that word witness is related to the word for martyr. So I believe we have a false martyr now. We just witnessed a false sign and wonder with a trauma-based narrative mixed with the call for patriotism. It's kind of a MAGA martyr, but it's a false martyr. So we have a false martyrdom narrative going on, and most people are buying it, you know. See, Christians, according to the Bible, as far as I can see, we are supposed to be critical thinkers. Almost every book in the Bible warns about false teachers and false Christians and false prophets, etc. It's always been an issue. It's one of the strategies of Satan and his apostles. Oh, a false apostle, that's another one. False apostles are sent out who are actually false Christians, and they spread false teaching, and sometimes they become false martyrs. So these narratives are used to control us and even to divide us. They're kind of uniting half the population, but they're dividing that side from the other half of the population. And they also have their martyrs as well. They're trying to herd us all into two different groups. And I think what's going to happen is that, here's one possible theory. I don't really know what's going to happen, but here's one theory. If I were them, there's a couple things I would do. One is that I would have RFK Jr. and these guys cancel all childhood vaccine requirements. And actually, that would be good, right? That's a good thing. I don't believe vaccines are useful at all. I think they do more harm than good, to put it simply. All vaccines. And, but, because they're all liars and deceivers, what's going to happen is that, see, keep in mind that vaccines are the modern day ritual purity ritual. It makes people feel safe. Ritual purity laws are for people in a fallen state. It's for natural man. It's not for regenerate man. those living under the reign of Adam and not for those living under the reign of Christ. Vaccines make people feel safe. Fauci even said that. It's going to make you feel safe. It's just a feeling. It's a ritual cleansing to enter society. That's all it is. It's the modern day animal sacrifice. It's childhood vaccination. It's just a ritual. That's all it is. It's a ritual purity cleansing ritual. So if they cancel all of those, it's going to make most people, many people at least, feel very unsafe. Right? Some people will be happy about that, but others will be very upset. They'll be terrified because now all these children are going to be ritually unclean and they cannot enter society, which would be the school. I guess the school is like a temple. They need to get injected before they can enter into that school. But and then what they do, if I were them, this is what I would do. Remove all vaccine requirements, but then do another fake pestilence narrative. Fake pandemics. We have false pandemics as well, right? False plagues. That's what I would do. And that would kind of like justify the narrative. Oh, they took away the jabs for all the kids, and then look what happened. There's a new pestilence, a new pandemic. And then Gavin Newsom, I think, will be the next president. And so what they did was this Joe Biden actor played the role of an incompetent, weak president to an extreme level. It's not even possible anyone can be that pathetic. And so the left went extremely woke at a ridiculous level. And now they're going to the right at a ridiculous level where the people who are supposed to stand for free speech are censoring people and all that, but it's just part of the show. So now they're going to go extreme right, and that's going to piss people off. And then they'll go back to the extreme left again with the gruesome Newsom. But it's all part of the show, and it's all designed to enslave us. They're kind of like the Joker. Anyway, I got to try to find out where I am and see if I can get where I'm going. Talk to you later.